Hello there, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. Sometimes the fate of the galaxy is determined by only a handful of people. And usually the majority, the rest of us, are completely unaware that shit's going down. Which is exactly what might have happened the other day. I was looking out the window and the local pigeon lady was fighting a crackhead, or that's what my unenlightened eyes saw. I mean, for all I know, that crackhead might have been trying to stop the pigeon lady from opening a portal to a demonic world where, I don't know, pigeons are like human-sized. That'd be terrifying. I guess the point of what I'm trying to say here is if you ever do see a crackhead out on the street begging for money, why not give them some spare change? Help them out on their journey. You never know if the battles that are raging on in their heads are real or not. They could be trying to save the entire galaxy. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this story here, I don't actually remember. Oh, okay, but so in context to the Ahsoka series, General Hera Syndulla, as far as the Senate community is concerned, is that crackhead. She's gotten addicted to the power that she's wielded during her tenure in the Rebel Alliance. Never mind the fact that she was a rebel before, the Alliance to Restore the Republic even started. I mean, this woman's been fighting against the Empire ever since the Republic fell at the end of the Clone Wars, and it never seemed like power was her main aspiration. But anyway, according to her, she's drunk on power, and now she's a danger to the Republic. Despite her heroic actions during the Lothal campaign, despite the fact that she literally saved the current Chancellor of the New Republic from a certain death, despite her incredibly important role in training new fighter squadrons while she commanded the Lucre Hulk Prime Flight School, despite her integral role in helping develop the Mark I Starhawk. Despite all that, Hera Syndulla is now in deep poodoo. And you know what? I've been thinking about this ever since episode 4 ended and Hera left on terrible terms with that Senate Oversight Committee. And now things look even worse. I mean, Hera Syndulla is a deeper shade of green, and, her good pal, Mon Mothma, well, she brings this terrible news to her personally via hologram.
Hera, the Senate Oversight Committee is going to determine if your command should be permanently suspended.
Permanently suspended is such a stupid term. Why not just say fired? Anyway, in today's video, I'm going to break down what exactly Hera did wrong from a military standpoint. I will be going through all the little details that I'm sure are going to be used against her. We'll also talk about the powers that are arraigned against her. And we'll also talk about any potential strategies you could use to get her and, let's be honest, the New Republic out of trouble. Without Hera Syndulla, these blue boys are really struggling. Okay, so the problem here is she's an officer within the New Republic Defense Fleet. This is not the rebellion anymore. She can't just come and go whenever she wants. She can't just carry out attacks and missions without approval from the chain of command. I mean, even when she was in Phoenix Squadron during the war, she couldn't really do that. But them was desperate times. And now Hera Syndulla is an officer in the New Republic Defense Fleet, and she's most likely taken an oath of service, stating that she will, please raise your right leg into the air, ma'am, that they will solemnly swear to defend the New Republic and support its founding documents, and that they will be loyal to the citizens of the New Republic and follow the commands of the New Republic government. I made that all up, but that's generally what happens in a republic. Especially a republic like this, where you have a civilian government in charge and civilians in charge of the military. Republics are all about counterbalance. It's about having your opposition within the power structure to keep you in check. In the words of former Prime Minister of France, Georges Clemenceau, war is too serious a matter to entrust to military men. The military is there to serve and defend the people of the republic. The military is funded by taxpayer money, and therefore elected officials should at least appoint the people who lead the military. It's not to say that military men shouldn't be trusted. We obviously should have a good amount of trust in them, but it's not about the individual, it's about the system, the structure put in place. But due to the political nature of war, the temptation of subverting a republic's democratic values, no matter how just the cause is not an option that any military leader should ever have available to them. The fear from the civilian side is that rogue officers like Hera Syndulla, with her immense popularity, could circumvent the commands of elected decision makers and create a mutiny and overthrow the government in a coup. Even though that's clearly not what Hera Syndulla is trying to do here, it's not about the individual, but it's about the system that protects the Republic. Hera Syndulla should not expect to get special treatment. Even though Carson Teva, would make an excellent arts and culture minister in our military junta, that boy's got drip. Now, some of you might be pointing at the episode and be like, well, I bet she's going to try to stop the witch from doing the thing with the giant hyperspace thing to get the blue guy who's going to come back and, cause death and mayhem. But guys, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how just Hera Syndulla's cause is. It's about precedent. And for every Hera Syndulla there's 9 other individuals with different qualities. Some of them might be malicious. Some of them might be trying to use their military command to take control or take power. There can be no exceptions in a system like this. And I'm sorry I'm spending so much time on this. There are a lot of armchair generals nowadays on the internet, these influencers who are peddling really authoritarian ideas, and I f***ing hate them. I really love this country that I live in, and I do want to preserve it as much as possible. Anyway, the big problem with Hera Syndulla, as I mentioned in one of our previous videos where we break down her character, is that she's a brilliant fighter, a great pilot, a great leader, but she really doesn't know how to think politically, or maybe she just doesn't really care about this kind of stuff. And that's great and all, but it's kind of her responsibility now that she is a general. I mean, she naively believes that all of these politicians understand that she's trying to act in her best intention and they're just gonna simply believe her. And maybe that was true during the Rebel Alliance era when every enemy sighting could potentially destroy the entire movement. But look around, sweetheart. Everyone's gone. The Empire's no longer here, and the ones that are here are getting rehabilitated. Yeah, that's absolutely terrifying. Our enemies unite us. That is an unfortunate truth about humanity. When we don't have enemies to fight, we create enemies, both real ones and made up ones in our heads. And in this case, there's a lot of infighting in the New Republic, a lot of politics going around. And you can see that Mon Mothma is slowly losing control. And I guess no one told Hera this, and so she put herself in a really bad situation here.
If I could get approval to send a task force to the Denab system, I could find out.
Now again, Hera didn't technically receive a no. Instead, that asshat Senator Xion goes on a personal attack and accuses her of getting emotionally connected to this wild chase for Thrawn and Ezra. I really hate this guy, but he's good. The problem here is because Hera Syndulla did have this meeting with the Senate Oversight Committee where she requests to do exactly what she did illegally, it's gonna be really hard for her to pretend that, oh, I don't know, her squadron of X-Wings on a routine patrol accidentally ended up in the Denab system chasing black market Ewok meat smugglers. I guess Hera Syndulla should have known that these senators weren't gonna support her action. She definitely should have known that she didn't have enough proof to justify this action, and now she's in a really bad situation. But then again, that's what makes Hera a great pilot and a military leader. She only gives herself time to think about the most pressing and important things. Military leaders who overthink too much usually get people killed. Politics can wait. And then there's this.
I'm not just gonna sit around and do nothing, Lieutenant.
But you can't leave without authorization.
Watch me.
Look, her aide is gonna go bat to her because that is the kind of leader Hera Syndulla is. She's Dick Winter, not Herbert Sobel. Her men love her.
You do things your way because you care. This is why people like you.
I mean, Hugh Yang gets it. He's been serving badasses for 25,000 years, and he recognizes the leadership capabilities of Hera. But again, that's not going to matter that much in front of the bureaucrats. What is going to matter is that she took the ghosts, which she technically donated to the rebel cause. Key word here is she donated, aka does not belong to her anymore. I mean, maybe back in the rebellion days, Hera Syndulla could have just flown off with the ghosts. But now the bureaucrats and the bean counters, who by the way are an extremely important and necessary evil. Logistics and accounting wins wars, not just hero units. That means her ghost is now New Republic property. Yes, she originally provided the whole, and I'm sure in the court-martial case they will take that into account. But who do you think is loading up the proton torpedo racks, fueling up the hyperdrive and the thrusters? That's all taxpayer money right there. Taxpayers also paid for those X-Wings and the training and housing and salaries of those pilots as well. Her XO knows all of the risks that she's taken here.
You're risking an awful lot by doing this.
And even though Carson, Teva, and the rest of her squadron are going to insist in the court-martial case that Hera Syndulla didn't order them to come, and that they volunteered fully knowing that what they're about to do was illegal, Hera Syndulla will say otherwise because it's Mama Syndulla. She's going to try to take care of everyone. Oh, and yeah, speaking about that, on a side note, New Republic Child Services are probably going to frown upon the fact that Hera is bringing her baby on this extremely dangerous mission where they fly through this gamma ray spewing cancer-inducing hyperspace thing. And I'm pretty sure Hera Syndulla is just going to be like, well, whenever there's danger for Jason, he knows to hide behind that talking, murdering, war crime machine of a droid. Chopper. She is going to lose this case. And to make matters worse, not only did Hera Syndulla commandeer these fighters, she got at least 2 of her pilots killed. That or we just don't have enough time in the 5th episode to learn about their fate because I don't see them. Those senators are going to use those pilot deaths as a way to really turn up the heat on Hera Syndulla. They're just going to make her look like a dangerous, unpredictable veteran who's off of her meds, who's too emotionally connected to the mission she's on. I mean, let's look back at that meeting where Hera Syndulla completely calls out Senator Xion and attacks him personally.
Were you ever in the war, Senator?
No.
Just sat back and waited to see who came out on top?
Granted, the senator shot first, but it doesn't really matter here, because those other senators look offended as hell. I'm guessing they didn't serve in the military either. And while service is definitely appreciated in the New Republic, this isn't the freaking Federation. It's not necessary for citizenship, and it's definitely not necessary for someone to run for Senate. And here's the thing, those senators are the ones that she's probably going to have to stand in front of after this mission. And this is not just some ordinary group of senators, this is the New Republic Military Oversight Committee, and I think their main job is going to be dealing with stuff like demilitarization, something that Mon Mothma had planned to do before even the war ended. Another thing that they'll be focused on is cracking down on, I don't know, what they perceive as power-hungry individuals with way too much power and control in their hands. And yeah, this really depends on which republic you're looking at, but generally senators have a lot of control over the military. They can declare war officially. They can also approve or disapprove funding. They can give officers promotions or demote them. And if this committee is doing things as low level and as mundane as approving individual task force for operations and approving individual missions, that is not a good sign for Hera Syndulla. It means that they have a lot of power and they're not afraid to exercise it. So what can Hera Syndulla do here? Well, she can still build a case, I think. I mean, she'll get disciplined no matter what, because that's how militaries work. You have rules for a reason. As I mentioned before, for every Hera Syndulla, there's also a Cassius Constantine or Kendall Ozzel. You gotta protect yourself from morons like that. And so building a case here is really her only move, and that's exactly what Mon Mothma wants her to do.
You're going to need her testimony to help you. I'm sorry.
Problem is the freaking space whales have gotten Ahsoka. Luckily, the New Republic cruisers sent to bring Hera to justice or back, I don't know what, they do actually see the space whales. But is this actual proof that Morgan Elsbeth is trying to bring Thrawn back, or is it just proof that they're space whales? Hera and Sabine are gone. Hu Yang was in the ship repairing things. He missed it all. And all Hera has is, wait, does she have a recorder in her cockpit? I mean, it might have been fried when Elsbeth hyperspace through them, but that is kind of some proof. But yeah, I think you guys are all coming to the same conclusion as I have, and that's that Hera Syndulla is kind of screwed here. I mean, if I were her, I'd probably run, go to the space whales, and go to the next galaxy. But chances are she's not going to be able to build up a very strong case here, and I think her vindication will come when Thrawn returns to the galaxy. He'll be playing chess, and all the New Republic leaders left are going to be playing rock stick. Actually, I have no idea what that is. I just made that up to illustrate a point that Thrawn is far better commander than anyone the New Republic has at their disposal. Well, actually, Gal Akbar might still be on duty. He's really the only guy who could match Thrawn. And as much as Mon Mothma wants to help out Hera here, she can't. She's too principled, and for good reason. Everyone views her as God right now. It was under her steady hand that the rebellion won the war. And she doesn't really want to use her power here to save a personal friend. It just wouldn't look good. It would build a very bad precedent that corruption is allowed, that chancellors have special powers that other politicians do not have. And so this is probably how Hera's hearing's gonna go.
Do you have Morgan Elsbeth in custody?
No.
Do you have evidence of Imperial Remnant activity or of Grand Admiral Thrawn's return?
No.
Without the flight recorder, thanks to that hyperspace ring, the testimony of Hera Syndulla and her pilots will be the only proof she has left. And like I mentioned before, all these political forces are going to be aligned against her. I mean, Senator Organa seems to be running cover for them, but you know, even she might get swept up into this nonsense. And so Hera Syndulla, the gracious rebel hero, is going to have to do what she does best, and that's take one for the team. I'm guessing she'll get court-martialed. Her contributions to the New Republic will save her from jail time. She will lose her command, but I'm pretty sure she'll get vindicated very, very soon. Let me know in the comment section below what you think will happen to Hera Syndulla. It will be interesting to see once the episode comes out who's right and who's wrong. Because, yeah.